Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. So this video will be the continuation of the first video about Firebase and how to install it. So now we're gonna do the authentication, and we'll do authentication using Google because it's the easiest method and it's the method that causes less friction for users. It's very frictionless, so I think people enjoy that one. So let's go with that one, and yeah, let's get right into this, right? So let's go where it says authentication. You can go to Firebase, go to your console, go where it says authentication, get it started. And we have our project here in the back. Alright, so here we want to pick Google as the additional provider, and you want to enable this. So my email is going to come here, I think, when I enable it. So I'm just going to do this off screen. No, my email didn't come up. So the email is going to come once I click here. So I don't want you to see my email because it's case sensitive. So I'll just, I'll just do this off screen, but you have to click here and then select your email, and then you'll click save. Alright, so once you've saved, you've selected your email and all of that, you'll see that's enabled, the status is enabled for Google, and that's all you wanted to do here. Okay, cool. So now we have this, we have enabled Google, so now we have to go to our application, and well, we also need to do something else. So we're going to be using we want to store the records of the users that are signing up, right? So we have to go to project overview, and now we'll also activate the Cloud Firestore. So click on Cloud Firestore, and we need to create a new one. So we'll need to create a new one, because if a user signs up, we're gonna get their email, right? And we need the email to do a bunch of things, a bunch of logic in our application. So we need to do this. So we need to create a database. So I'll just do that. This is just the default one. So the default one is false. You want to put it to true. In test mode, I think it's true. No, well, let's just do production mode here. You have to change this, and you have to apply rules in the future because you don't want to leave it open like that. But since this is a tutorial, I'll just go with it. All right. So once you've created it, you want to go where it says rules. Once you go to rules, you want to go where it says false and then change it for true, and then publish it. Otherwise, people won't be able to sign up. Okay, so let's go to data. We don't have any data, so we'll handle the data it's gonna come from our application. And it's good to also check the documentation. So you want to say Firebase authenticate with Google or something like that. And we're gonna be following this one. We're using TypeScript, by the way. This is JavaScript, but it's just TypeScript is just JavaScript with types. Okay, so we'll scroll down, and then we have all the documentation here that we're gonna be using. Okay, so I already implemented this in my applications, but I'm gonna show you the same thing. Okay, and now we can go to our application. All right, in our application we have this, right? But we're gonna be using Firestore as well. So what we want to do is we want to add that import. So we'll say import get Firestore, and then you can just click on that one, and then you'll get the import for that one. But then we also need to export that because we're going to be using the database in different files of our application. So we'll say const db. You can give it any name. I'll just database for me. So get Firestore. Sorry about that. Get Firestore, the very first one, and then here we say app, so we need to pass that, and then that's pretty much it. So now we have db get Firestore app, right? So now we have the Firestore, and now we have the authentication over our application here. No, I think I'm missing one here. So the one that I'm missing is, since we're going to be doing authentication, we also need the authentication one. So get auth. All right, and then now we can also export it here. All right, so export const auth. That's how I'm gonna name it, and get authentication, and like that, and we should be good to go. Okay, so this is how your file is gonna look like. So take a look at it. We have imported Firestore, authentication, and the app itself that we're gonna need it so that we can interact with our Firebase or database application. Okay, so now we have this. Now let's go to, let me see something. Let's go to our application, which is here. Okay, we have our application. All right, so I already have like a nav bar, but what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna do it again so that you can see it. Okay. All right, so I already have like a nav bar and I have it like everything created already here. But I'm just gonna start from scratch, and I'm just gonna have, give me a second here. I'm just gonna have like the skeleton of it, and then I can show you how to do it. I'm not gonna show you how to do the styling and all of that, but I'm gonna show you how to add the logic for the sign up, for the Google sign up. Okay, so bear with me. All right, so I just realized that I made a mistake here. You need to put the config outside of the app directory. So you want to have it at the same level as the app. So here, see, just like this. Okay, so that's why I was getting this error for the auth context, which we'll see in a different tutorial. Okay, so I'll make the correction in the previous video as well. Okay, so basically I already have like a nav bar, so I'm just gonna create a new one, and then I'll show you how to integrate these buttons. So right now I have that nav bar, but I'll create a new one, okay? And then I'll show you how to do everything. I'll explain everything. All right, Jeeps for sale. We have our nav bar. When you select any of these, then this changes its color. But that's not our main goal here. Our main goal is to implement the Google sign up. Okay, so we have the nav bar. So what we want to do now is we're gonna do the following. So we're gonna be adding like a new function here, which is gonna handle the Google sign up. But first we need a button that says sign up, right? So maybe I'll replace this with a button here. So I'll just say button and then sign up with Google or something like that. Okay, right? So now the color once again, sign up with Google. Okay, and we can add like border black or something like that. That looks really bad. Okay, all right, and then rounded. There we go. Okay, now we have our button that says sign up with Google. This is just like a proof of concept once again, so don't take it too hard. All right, so now when we click on this one, we need to sign up with Google. So this is gonna be making a call to a function that we're gonna have here. So in this case, you can see that we don't have anything. I haven't imported anything, but I'll need to import a bunch of things here. So the first thing that I want to import is what we'll be using from the config file for Firebase. So, all right, so now we're gonna be using those two. Okay, so we have our button, which is gonna be hooked up to the function that we're gonna create, and we need these two imports. But let's check. Let's take a look at the documentation and see how we do it, right? Okay, here you have modular API, namespace API. So the one that I'm using is the modular one. So it says that we also need this. So create an instance of the Google provider object. So we need to create an instance of this. So that's another thing that we need, and we're gonna use it right now. Okay, so Google Auth provider. We're gonna import that. Let's see what else, and we have to create like an object of that, right? So we'll do that in the function. All right, let's see what else. This is optional, so we don't need that. Okay, so authenticate with Firebase using the Google provider object. So to sign up with a pop-up, which is what we want. So we're just gonna, so see, we already have everything here. So I'm just gonna copy this because I don't do it this way, but I'm just gonna, and this is JavaScript. And yeah, so let's just copy this whole thing. So we need to get auth, we need sign in with pop-up, Google Auth provider, and all of that. All right, so now we have everything. So now we can create our function. So we can take a look at this, but we'll do it in a different way, okay? So let's go here. All right, so we have added all the imports, and remember that it said that we needed a provider, so we do need a provider, so which is this one. So we're gonna copy this as well. And I'm just gonna put it here, provider, Google Auth provider. Okay, and if you scroll down, you can see that we need to pass the auth, so we need to get the auth here, and we also need to pass the provider. Okay, so once again, I'm gonna do this in a different way, just because I want to add more things I want to create like a user, and I want to create like a document for the user with different fields already, which is going to save a lot of time. Okay, so let's just go here. So we've used so we're doing the provider, new Google Auth provider. All right, so now so we have that. So now we'll set our function here. So login with Google, we're gonna call that. Alright, so we're gonna call it login with Google. This will be in a sync. Alright, so what we're gonna be doing here, we'll say try, and I'll explain everything that I do once I'm done with this. So we'll just say sign up with pop-up. Try to talk while I do this. It's a little bit hard, but I'll try to do it. And then provider. And this is the same thing that we were seeing in the documentation. So here we'll just say const user auth, and then current user. Okay, that should be good there. And then we'll say if user, we need to open brackets here, so we'll just say if user. All right, so we'll just say user. So we'll check if the user exists already, right? And then here we'll just say user doc ref. So we want to check if there's already like a document in the database, which is DB, for the users collection. We're gonna be calling a users collection with this user UID. Okay, so we already have one. Then we'll just fetch that, I guess, or we'll just log him in. Right, so snapshot, and I know this comes all from Firebase. I already have the code, that's why I'm just writing it. So get doc, it's just to get the document, user doc ref, which is based on this reference. But I'll explain everything. Let me finish this. And if the user doc snapshot doesn't exist, so if it doesn't exist, so exists, something like that. So we'll check if it exists. If the document doesn't exist, then we'll do something else, which is we'll create one. So say await set doc. So it's like creating this document. And I forgot that we have to do all of these imports. But as you can see, I already imported it because I pressed enter on it. But you can see what's going on here. So okay. Now yeah, so we'll pass the fields that we wanted to include. So in this case, I'll use email, user.email. And let's see something, this. So we want this user.email. So we want to pass the email. So if the user doesn't exist, create like a document with these fields. Email, user email, but the very first thing that we want is user ID. So we'll just create, and what we're going to be passing as the user ID is the same as the document ID. Alright, so this will help you. So we'll just say user.uid. So this will help you down the road. Okay, if you want to do any other type of logic. Okay, so now we have everything. So it's a little bit confusing, so I'm gonna go over this once again and I'll explain what's going on. Alright, so let's just do catch, which is what I'm missing here. Yeah, and then here, I don't know, you can just console log the error if you wanted to. Error. Okay, cool. So now we should be good. So it's complaining that we're missing this, so we need those. So what we're gonna be doing is saying doc. What else do we need? Get doc as well, and set doc. Okay, we're gonna be using all of these later. Alright, but let me explain what's going on here. And we'll go to the button and we'll say on click. We'll call the function So we'll say login with Google. Okay. Now we'll give it a try and see what happens. Okay. So what we did was the following. So in order to interact with the Firestore, with the database, we need to use this. So get doc, set doc. So this get doc is to get a document that already exists. Set doc is just to set like a new document, as you can see here. The doc itself is the doc itself, the document itself. Sign up with pop-up Google Auth provider. So I already showed you where you can get those from, and you need to set like a new provider, which is the first thing that we've done, and then we created like a function called login with Google. It's an async function, so we're awaiting because we have the await here. So we do like a try and catch block, and basically what I'm doing here is using the sign in with pop-up, and I'm passing the auth and the provider, the same as the documentation in Firebase, and I'll show you. See, the same thing, it's here. Here they're passing something different. They're using tokens, getting an access token. You can do it this way as well, but I'm doing it in a different way. Okay. All right, cool. And then let's see. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I'm doing that. Yeah, so I'm just doing the sign up with pop-up. Then I'm saying I'm setting like a user here, creating a user based on auth that current user, and then I'm saying like if the user exists, then I want to use this doc reference. So doc, so check if this exists based on the user UID in the collection users in the DB, which is our database. And if there's like a snapshot of that, get the document. So get that document for this. So get this collection, right? And then I'm saying like if the snapshot doesn't exist, so if there is not a user like with those with this user ID UID, then I'm saying set a new document. So create like a new document with this in this place, which is here, with these fields, user ID and email, and I can pass like name and all of that, right? But now, well, it's a little bit more complicated if you want to pass name and last name and whatnot. But here I'm passing the email, which is the given. It's a given, right? And then I'm passing the user ID, which I'm setting it to the same as the document ID. And if there is any errors, then just catch that, okay? Cool. So let's, I hope that's a little bit clearer. I know it's confusing. So let's go to our application and let's try to sign up. It's not gonna work, I can tell you already, because we need to do something else on the admin dashboard. So let's go where it says sign up with Google. So once you click on it, so you'll see that it wants to come up. Oh no, it's gonna work. I think it's gonna work for me because I've added it already. If it doesn't work for you, it might be because of the following. So you wanna go where it says authentication, and then you want to go where it says settings and authorized domains. So this is where you want to add the authorized domains. And this is not for the local host, but this is when you actually deploy it somewhere else and you cannot sign up, then you have to come here. But maybe I'll remind you this later. Okay, so then I have my email here. It's already, you don't see it for security purposes or for privacy reasons. So, but once you click on it, so I'm going to click my email, and it's gonna ask me first, and I'm gonna say yes, continue, and now I should be signed up. So let me just refresh this, and I should have my email here. Maybe I'll do this so that you don't see the email, but you'll see the record there. And if you go to Firebase, to the database itself, you should have also the record there in a new collection. Okay, so now if you go to Cloud Firestore, you should see the document collection being created there. So users, that should exist now. And now you have the UID, which is this one, and we have set the user ID to the same, so that then we can do some logic down the road with that. And we also should have the email there. If you wanted to add something else, so let's say that you wanna go back here and say maybe paid user, and then we'll set it to false or something like that. And then you can do some logic in the, as I said, you can do some logic later on. So then that one is gonna appear once the user signs up. It will appear here as well. So here you have the control of doing many things. That's why I wanted to do it in that way, so that I could add like a document like that with the fields that I wanted to add. Let's say that you want to do that, right? So paid user, I'll put false. And let's go back to Firebase, and I'm gonna delete this collection, and you'll see that it will be created again. So I'll just delete this collection, users. I'll go here and I'll delete my email once again, delete, and I'll sign up again. So I don't have anything. Go back to the site, and now when I click on sign up, once again it's gonna sign me up. I'm gonna do it off screen so that I don't have to be trying to hide my email here. So let's do it. Just save and editing time. Okay, I just signed up. As you can see, we have the sign up with Google here. It doesn't change to like log out because it's already signed up, like the user has already signed up, right? So this should change. So that's a different thing. That's the auth context, like that's the context in the page and what's going on with them. So in the next tutorial we'll tackle that. But for now, let's go here and let's check that we have the signed up again. So now you can see that we have the record once again here. We have a different UID, of course, because we have signed up again and we deleted our old record. And now if we go to Firestore database, we should have the collection once again, the users collection. And now we have a different UID as I mentioned, and now we have a new field that's called paid user, and now it's set to false. So we have the control. We can log in with Google now. You see that it's working. In the next tutorial, what I'm gonna cover is the following. So I'll add some context to the page so that the website knows where the user is and what the user is doing, or if the user is logged in or not. That's basically it. Alright, so now we can log in with Google. In the next tutorial we'll take a step further, as I said, but for now this is it. So now you know how to log in with Google. If you have any questions, just leave it in the comments, subscribe to the channel, share it with other people, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.